And hello, welcome back to this episode 8 in Ashbury Dales on Snapdragon Cities. Well, where do you find us? You find us just outside the Go Nuts Donuts Bakery. We're looking here over, let's run the game. We're looking here over a playground and a lovely residential development that just kind of seems to stop, doesn't it? We've got this big field behind. We can see these cars travelling off into the distance, and we can see the citizens of Ashbury Dales here in Whitehall, just going about their day, perhaps wondering why there's nothing here. We've clearly built this side of the road, but somehow we just forgot to keep going. And I wonder if the people living in these houses here wonder, what is the purpose of this lightly coloured patches of grass that seem to form almost a boundary in our city? And I wonder if they think maybe that's why, and if they've got folk tales or bedtime stories about why you don't cross the dotted line in the grass. It creates this weird vibe, doesn't it? And it stops them getting to what I'm sure is the ghostly pier here that seems to, if you look very closely, be floating off the end there. I wonder if the folks in Turnwater are thinking the same, wondering if they could walk and have a nice little jaunt along the riverside, only to find they are prevented by what seems to be a boundary. Well, we're going to remove that boundary today. We've been talking about it for the last few episodes now. We need to move out of this square, don't we? We've got some undeveloped space in here, but we'll get to that. But we need to grow out and beyond. We've got a lot to get done in this episode. We've got grand plans. Let's see if our plans are so grand that they don't make it into this one episode. But we'll see. So we got a few things we're trying to get done. We want to start creating an ore industry. If I seem slightly obsessed by that, it's perhaps because there are quarries near where I live, and they create quite a lot of jobs, quite a lot of opportunity for people to go and earn some money. And also, I'm familiar with it. And so we want to try and use some space here. Now, this little space here that you might be able to see, just slightly darker green to the rest of it, is the largest ore area nearby. So you can see it here. There's a lot of ore here. It's also quite next to quite a dense forestry area. And I've been looking around the map, and we can have a look quite a long way out with our extended camera. As we look around, we go around the entire map. There's everything everywhere, right? We've got essentially a huge forest over here that we can make our way to one day. There is ore, oil, fertile ground, and trees absolutely everywhere. So it's impossible to pick the best place to do anything. So we might as well pick the closest good place. That could be here, but here puts us just slightly closer to the motorway, slightly closer to this other potential industry area, and this huge area here of just open space for us to grow into with a new town. I thought this episode might be just doing that, just breaking ground in a new area of the map and saying, right, that's it now. We are done with this area. Ashbury Dales is expanding and just start building a new town here. But as you can see, this area would be basically just as big as the area we've already got. And it took us 7 episodes to get here. I don't want to try and build out a whole new area in one. I don't think it would work. The game mechanics, in my experience, don't like you just suddenly landing a whole bunch of new development there. It tends to not work quite as well as this area has. And this area has worked well. We continue to be millionaires. We have, 7777 in terms of, +1, but it went down by 1. Game's weird. There we go. So we're doing well on all fronts. But we would like to do better. If we were to, so what it boils down to, if we were to start expanding over here and start trying to build intersections off motorways to get to other industry areas and create new towns, we would need to be very comfortable that we did everything we could for these areas here. So the folks of Whitehall need to grow into this space, don't they? But they need to be able to have access to what would be a lovely, perhaps park area, but if not that, just a lovely place to go. Turnwater has got space to grow into. We would need to get that done first. We'd also need to tidy this up. We kind of plonked this here, and so it looks plonked. And since we're not plonkers, we're going to just tidy this up. We're going to do all of that in this episode. In addition to that, we are going to try and decide where an intersection would be on the motorway. Perhaps it's easy enough to just say it would be here. This is where the residential would be. The ore industry and the forestry industry would be here. So we could perhaps visualize where that might go. Perhaps we'll get around to building that intersection in this episode and laying the major roadways towards where the three parts of our new build will be. If we were to do that, though, we would have to buy several squares. Now, in the first episode, I did say we will be using the 81 tiles mod. I thought that we would unlock a few more squares before we get there. But, and I hope you're going to forgive me for this, we are not going to. The very first thing we're going to do in this episode is unlock all the tiles. And so there we go. We've hit the big button. And as you can see in the background, and if we close this, you'll see it for real. These dotted lines that have been the stuff of myth and legend for folks around the city have now vanished. Now, all of your boos and hisses about doing that for free are valid and justified. However, in considering what I wanted to do for the city, decided we're not going to confine ourselves to a small grid in the center of our map. We are going to need to use as much of this space around the beautiful map as we can. And now that it's unlocked, we might find a few more points of interest around the map. So we might see these castle ruins here, perhaps as something to grow into. We might look at this airport and say, I wonder what happened to the infrastructure that meant that they needed to build a runway and taxiway. Maybe one day that will become an airport for our city. Perhaps we would, where is it? Look over towards here and look at this very specifically created train and road infrastructure and say, what on earth is going on here? How can we make the most of that? Well, we'll find out one day. We can go around to other parts of the map and see, well, do you remember all of those episodes ago where there was crime at a monument in the distance? Well, it turns out it was this. At some point in the distance, what I can only assume is a point of interest in the map because there are people here. And so where there are people, it would seem, so there is crime. And so this statue here, which seems to be commemorating Wellington, I can't read all of this, so I won't try. This exists in the map. And perhaps now that we've unlocked everything, we can see quite how glorious Uncle Ron's creation is. All apart from this one junction here, which seems to be causing quite a lot of traffic. We're not going to fix it, but because it's not interfering with our development too much. But this could be improved. If we felt so frustrated by it that we wanted to come and look at it, we could definitely do better here. Level crossing here. Not many trains are going through our city at the moment because we've got no reason for them to. But this is great, isn't it? And these motorway intersections are just exactly as they would look. Disused factory over here as well. Anyway, by the by, so we have unlocked all of the tiles and can now benefit from seeing all of the advantages of the map that we have. But this is what we've built so far. We are not ignoring the need for highly educated people over here, and we will perhaps in an episode or two's time grow out to create a university, but not today. So let's start with Whitehall then. What we want to do, we can keep the game running, is just use this space. So that will give us a couple of more opportunities to connect to our main road here. This town development will grow out from here. We've got one of our old roads in here, one that we didn't upgrade. We'll probably fix that. Let's see if we can't sketch out a roadway network that leaves this free if we wanted to put some farming in here, and just sort of butts up against all of the natural barriers here. So we'll do that now and come back and discuss what we've done once we've finished. Well, there we go. So we've done a few things here. We've left some spaces for perhaps schools. I suspect we'll need some schools around here, or perhaps some parks. We like this space here perhaps for one of the generic park assets. Maybe some trees here, some trees just along the front. Maybe won't go amiss, and we can fill out this area here similarly as well. So that's that. Let's make sure that the area is plumbed in. There we go. Very good. That is done. And now we can start thinking about how we want to populate this area. So we'll just go through quickly and remove the zoning from the areas we don't want zoning first. There, that's good. That gives us quite a lot of zonable space around here. We'll pick out some bits now for commercial. Apart from that, this is probably just going to be residential. So let's make that happen. So we'll just quickly colour all this in. We realised just in time that we were about to make a big mistake. That we were about to just zone all of this in one go, and that wouldn't have been good for as previously discussed. The game does not enjoy very much that just plonk it all down approach. We do need to find a way to bridge some power. I wonder if just a simple that's noisy. Have we got any other? Is this not noisy? Is that what this is trying to tell me? Okay, we'll pop this here. What does that do to our power? We should have been looking as we did that. That will get it to there. That will create a building there, and then I suspect the buildings will just will flood their way around, and we won't have any problems with power here. Right. So that's going to do what it's going to do. We did say we wanted to put some parks down, so before we forget, let's do that. Wonderful. Look at that. Right, now let's talk integration with this part. We demolished a house to put this path in here, which I think is fine. I feel very justified in that. It's we could have put a narrower path in real life. Of course, we didn't have to destroy this house, but the folks in here weren't nice people, ladies and gentlemen. So we decided actually that these people having a bit of empty space here was better, and then eventually someone will come in and reoccupy that. And let's hope they're better people than the previous incumbents. Incumbents probably isn't the right word. Right, let's hide that. That's done. Some trees along there we said we'd do. Some trees along here we said we would do. This is nice and straightforward. We said we'd do some along here as well. So let's keep our promises. Also, right at the very beginning of the episode, I forgot to mention it, but there was a tree in the middle of the road. I took it out. It's gone. So there we go. Right, how are we doing? We want actually, we can just put some trees there as well, can't we? And then if we're doing that and leaving that free for the substation here, I had some feedback actually after I placed our first substation that I had incorrectly fenced it off. Which I think is absolutely true. So let's very quickly just, it would be gated off. So what we're going to do is we'll just turn collision off to make sure that this does exactly what I want it to do. We're just going to pretend that the fence is a gate. There, done. Yeah, it's a fence. I know it's a fence, but can we just pretend it's a gate? That would make me happy. And would satisfy a piece of feedback that I have received. There we go, done. The feedback wasn't on the next one you place, please do it properly. So actually, while we're doing it, let's zip over to our original substation and just similarly lock this off. I wondered actually whether this would be a perfect place for some elder care, though it does kind of prevent us from receiving the full impact of that. Actually, knocking down all of these houses here seems far more beneficial in that way. But we did turn collision off, so in putting collision back on, we get a moment to consider whether or not we really want to knock down all of these houses for just this elder care centre. And, you know, after lengthy consideration, we did want to knock it down. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it, eh? There we go. We'll just move this path out of the way, though, because as much as we don't mind knocking down houses, we don't want our paths to look silly. So we'll just do that. I think that's wonderful. We can probably also then have a think about a child healthcare centre. There seems like a great place for that. I wonder if we want to think about really upping our game in this area and using this space here as a kind of leisure hub. Yeah, we didn't really build it the right shape for it, but let's pop these things down and then let's get involved with the Move It mod and see if we can't just make this all look a bit more coherent. So that there is great. So these are all nicely lined up. They have some sense to how they're laid out. We've got a little bit of concreting to do, which we can do fairly easily. I wonder actually whether we'd want to, if we've got something that we can put in here that would make sense, maybe maybe our doctor's surgery. Yeah, that's just going to fit nicely in there, isn't it? And actually this one might be rotated a bit more aligned to this road. Gives us a little bit of space to concrete in here, and also a nice little blurry space in between to kind of mask how bad we are with that concreting tool. So what do we think of that? Is that a nice little community hub there? Yeah, maybe just having the angles isn't doing everything I want it to do, but it's doing enough to make me feel like we've upped our game in this area. What would we do behind it? Well, we'll find out. Anyway, we want to move on. Whitehall wasn't the only area that needed expansion. Turnwater. We did this a couple of episodes ago. We put what I think is a lovely little town in here that seems to be thriving, doesn't it? There's a veritable hub of activity. We've got cars parked all over the place and houses that seem to be doing well enough. We just turned our back on it, didn't we? We turned our back on Turnwater and said, well, you get on with it. You get on with being a town. But now we've got all of this space to go into over here. So perhaps we'll do the same thing again. There we go. We're happy with that. So in terms of pedestrian connections, what we've been trying to do is just make it so that walking is profitable. That where someone here might need to get somewhere here, they can get there quicker walking and crossing roads than they can by getting in their car and driving around. We've probably achieved that sufficiently here. Then we've probably done a better job here doing it in advance than we have anywhere else doing it afterwards. But that's fine. Yeah, we're happy with that. We'll learn as we go. Our town planners are learning as they go, and so are we. So let's pick off some bits for commercial. That's probably going to be enough. The rest of it we will colour in green. There, I imagine that's enough for now. And again, so we should see that start to pop up, but we can enable that with the addition of some services. So let's have or parks as well, perhaps. So let's start with some parks. Just use a few trees there. Now we are getting notice that we are forgetting something, aren't we? So let's very quickly plumb in the extended area of Turnwater. There we go, approximately perfect. So we will allow that to happen. Again, I think there's probably not much more for us to do. At this stage, the power will jump across very nicely from this area, and we have our as yet unfenced substation here. So let's put a fence around it. There we go. Cannot build on water. It tried to tell us, so we just raised it up, raised the ground around it. That's exactly how that would work, isn't it? We're putting trees in water now, and they're immediately, of course, suffering from that. So no problem. We will back those off, and but this is too strong, isn't it? We're getting too many trees off this. So there we go. Nice. A few more, I think, around here would help. We do have quite a lot of open space in here, don't we? I wonder if just some, is that too much? It feels like maybe that was too much. We're not in Beechwood after all, are we? This area is not named after a tree, so needn't be filled with trees. But we are in England, and so there will be. There we go. That's that. Yay! Look at that big town. We did it. Marvelous. Right. Let's just finish what we were doing here. That all seems great and grand and lovely. Is this going to be Whitehall Manor? Perhaps we just need to take the manor out of this name now and just refer to this area as Whitehall. That's it. I wonder if some of the folks might feel a bit precious about retaining the manor in their name, but since I'm entirely clueless on what it takes to acquire manor as part of your name, I have no qualms at all. I'm entirely qualm free when it comes to just taking it out. And so it's gone. And so Whitehall, the name has jumped all the way over here, and why not? So we still retain Whitehall River, Whitehall Village. It seems impossible that this is the correct way to demark that. So I'm afraid that school is now part of Whitehall, not part of Whitehall Village, and Turnwater extends thusly. We do have some industrial demand still, but I'm not desperate to satisfy that. I did also see some trash problems, but those were all the way over here, and I don't think adding another recycling centre here will fix that. I suspect we'll need to incorporate that somehow into our new development over here and allow connectivity between the two. So what we might do with that in mind then is just see if we can tidy up the allocation of space around here and see if we can't give this more of a finished quality. I think that involves moving these two here. Just back them off away from the... So if we've got the entrance to the recycling centre at the bus station, at the bus stop, seems fine. And then our bus depot there. That all seems great. In doing this, what we're saying to the rest of the town is that we value the way that it looks around here. And so we want for them, yeah, see that, right, okay, so we can almost see just by where the trees are instantly dying what we've done to our natural landscape around this area. So we'll just try and smooth that into there, straight line here that comes over here. And in doing this, it just makes it look like, though anyone who's watched the episodes will know, that this is not the case, that actually this was all built deliberately, like around the natural areas. And then we will take away that which will die. In doing that, maybe we can put some fencing just around the outside of this area here to give it a deliberate look, though perhaps this is already enough of a deliberate look. So what impact does it have on views for people? So from here, yeah, we've improved their view by, about half, right? So they can still see all the towers coming off the top, but not the bases of the building. So they can't see the traffic, but they can see the thing the traffic is traveling to. Fine. But we did all of this in anticipation of starting to build here. So this would be our ore industry, and this would be our forestry industry. We could perhaps mark them as such. We will have better names than that by the time they're built. Right, and then we think maybe here would be a good spot for an intersection. This is likely to be where our residential development will be, this sort of just plain grassy area. And so we don't want to use up that. We want to be close enough to our industry, and this seems right in the middle. So perhaps we can just allocate this area for an intersection. What we'll do is we'll use our planning roads for this, and we'll mark out where we want the roads going into all of these areas to be, and that will help us plan out the kind of intersection that we would want. So let's do that first. There we go. So what we've done here was just use these planning roads, which you'll find on the Steam workshop. So they cost nothing. You can drive on them, but only very slowly. No one wants to do anything with them, so they're kind of free to put down there, and they do nothing but allow us to visualize what we're trying to do. So what we've done, we've said that we've got a couple of ways into what will be our main town here. We've got an ore industry which we've circled around and butted up against our forestry industry, and we'll work all that out in detail as we go. We don't need to worry about that for now. And then we've got a road here which I suspect will no doubt end up connecting to our main road in our main town. That I think is probably going to be good enough. These might end up being our main roads, there or thereabouts. We don't need to be super precise. And if that were the case, then I suspect an intersection or a junction off of the motorway here would need just to service this side of the motorway. But you can see we have some challenges to overcome. We've got some terrain challenges here that we would need to navigate and bend in the road that we would need to consider without causing too much disruption. Our target area here is higher than our area here, which gives us it makes it just slightly easier to navigate crossing. So we'd be able to come out here and go up to this area here, if this is exactly the point where we would want to connect to. Who knows just yet? And again, similarly for traffic coming from this area that would want to connect back to this side of the motorway, they'd be able to come over and down, and I think we'd find that quite easy to do. So we'll continue to use our planning roads and try our hand at building a simple junction here. And then we'll discuss whether we're happy with what we've done. If we're happy with what we've done, we maybe convert it into actual roads, and then we'll probably be nearly done. So let's get on with that and talk about what we've done once we have done it. Yeah, okay. So we're running into a slightly unfortunate reality here with this, that we don't have the kind of road that that I'm looking for. What I want is a 2-lane, 2-way road. So one road in each, one lane for each direction. But we don't have that in a highway form in the UK revised motorway set. So what that's kind of forcing me to do is use 2 lanes here to get the kind of road that that I want, which isn't, it's not making me super happy. But you know, it is what it is. It's just far too much road for this this kind of junction. Well, there we go. So so after, again, I imagine an extended time lapse, we've managed to find a way to make it work. And it turned out the answer was there. The answer was inside us all along, wasn't it? So the map comes with different highway roads to the ones that we were trying to use. We were trying to use the UK revised ones, but the map creator was using some different ones. Mike's X-ways, one way 2-lane, 1-way 3-lane, 4-lane, 5-lane, and there was enough in there for it to be worth us just building separate roads around here. So rather than having a 2-way road, we built 2 1-way roads side by side using the parallel roads tool in the network multi tool, and that seems to have worked. It's not perfect. Here we could spend some time with the move it mod, just sort of nudging things around and making it feel a bit better. That is something that apparently I can't resist, but should resist, because this is fine. And that's it. We have our intersection complete. We can continue to run the game. The cars here have nowhere to go, so I don't know where they were going, but they will travel at 5 miles an hour and eventually realise there's nowhere to go. And more for them. So we've got some bits of, yeah, these guys are all just disappearing, I guess because they're in a lane that goes nowhere and the pathing can't update. I'm certain this won't impact our game too heavily. It does seem like there's some braking going on here. The heights. Right, okay, so we'll just go through and just fix all the heights real quick. It's close enough. Right, let's just stop looking at it. So there we go. So we've managed to create our intersection here, which I think is looking fine. Like, I think it's looking nice enough. We could do a bit with the sloping just before we sign off, but probably already done all that we would need to do to make this a successful interchange. There we go. This is all still looking nice and even. Yeah. Love it. Right, great. And so then we're ready, aren't we? We're ready to move beyond the scope of our. Oh, what have we got going on here? What does that symbol mean? I'm not quite sure. Does it mean not in park area? Yes. Right, there we go. Whoop. Done. Right. So we have. Look at this. It's all on fire. It's all on fire. The firefighter's there to fix it, but clearly we have left not in the state that we would like it to be left. So let's put a UK fire station down there, and everyone was happy, and fires were put out, and no problems were found ever again. Right. So we could also. Just while we're fiddling around with finishing touches, we could ruin the ground underneath the rest of the farm area. Aha! Right. So now we're going to run into a skill gap here, I think. No, we are a collection of geniuses and have managed to make that look great. Room to grow in the farm. We've seen another thing that we can fiddle with before signing off. Wonderful, excellent. So this is all going out lovely, isn't it? Whitehall is expanding and no longer on fire. It will soon recover. Turnwater has grown and wasn't on fire from what I could see. And so has no need to recover. Our industrial area is sufficiently insulated insulated, not the right word, surrounded by trees, we would be happy enough with that, I think. And we've prepared ourselves for future growth. Look, I love it. Fantastic. Look, so I don't know what this I don't know how long this episode's going to end up being, but it's the longest one I've recorded so far, so we'll see what the edit does to it. Hopefully it takes out quite a lot, because I spent quite a lot of time working out how to do this this well. Imagine how long I'd have spent if I was doing it well. But that'll do for now. So we've got a lot to take a look at when we do our tour. We'll do that now, and then we'll wrap up. And there you have it, episode 8 in Ashbury Dales. Well, we've done quite a lot of growing up, haven't we? We've our towns of Whitehall and Turnwater have expanded into the available space, and we've created a nice big intersection off the motorway, which we will put to use in further episodes. And you know what? I quite like it. I took a different approach with the tours. Hopefully you enjoyed following some of our folks in and around our city and towns. If you liked that, then please like the video and drop me a comment to let me know it was that or something else that you liked about it. If you do that, please also subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with what we do here in Ashbury Dales. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed episode 8, and I look forward to seeing you on episode 9 here on Snapdragon Cities.